really excited to present what we do at the Young Fire Academy. It's amazing. It's been quite a long time of being the Young Fire Academy, and I don't think I've ever done a video where I've really showcased and shared everything that we're doing. We're doing quite a lot of different things now. Um, this video is just going to be a summary of what's on offer, a bit of an insight into the way I work if you've been following me for a while. And yeah, just to share with you what we're up to. So many things we're up to at the moment, which is also the reason why I've suddenly decided to do it. We've got maths hubs, we've got English essay writing hubs, we've got parent community calls. We're doing one-to-one coaching with university students and also the typical teenage 14 to 16-year-olds in the GCSE window. We're running a 5-day phone challenge. I've got speaking in school gigs. We're doing all kinds of things. Collaborations with tutoring agencies for summer camps, starting an online school. These are the kind of things that we're looking at. So I'm really excited to kind of go through that with you. And as always, thinking of just the first one, I mentioned the Maths Hub. I'm recording this video in the Easter holidays of 2024. And so my mind and heart are full of my year 11 students, a bunch of them either one-to-one or I've been working with them in groups who are doing the Maths Hub and the English Hub and some coaching calls as well with me. And the Maths Hub, really exciting to see the level of self-direction. If you don't know me very well, the cornerstones, the heart of Young Fire Academy's work is around self-direction, self-discipline, building in good structures, routine and habits, the kind of things that I think a lot of times we don't get to as in our schooling system and also with tutoring, typically traditional tutoring. Yeah, motivation, I want my students to understand what the meaning and purpose really is of doing GCSEs beyond just getting the grades and kind of life survival, to have a real sense of agency and interest and passion and enjoyment, even at this very, very pressurizing stage. Easter holiday revision time, yeah, and that's goes for like bit in time in school and in life. Taking on responsibility, students taking ownership of their own journey in this regard, not just kind of pleasing mummy and daddy by the amount of hours that they're doing, or mum and dad rather by the time they're teens, probably by the amount of hours they're doing, and just having this thing of like, I'm doing all these hours, but like really being just in it for themselves, like regardless of any pressure from parents or from schools or from society, just getting stuck into it on their own. Just for their own sakes, stepping into their maturity in that way. So yeah, that just pervades everything that we do. And when I think of the maths group, I think of those things. Yes, we're going through all the topics, they're self-studying a lot of those topics. So the way I do it is that I'm coaching in groups or I'm coaching one-to-one, but regardless, they're getting videos and worksheets that they study themselves. A lot of the studying is done on their own. It's not done, I'm not teaching them, I'm not tutoring them. I give them the resources they need, bespoke to what they need and their level. And through just seeing their work, seeing their past papers, seeing another way of just assessing and analyzing their level and what they need, I can farm out all of that work to them. And so then when they come to meet with me for a coaching session, we're really talking about the much bigger picture around maybe some of those specific concepts they don't understand. Yeah, we might get into the academic nitty gritty. I've been a maths and English tutor for 20 years now, so I know that inside out. But also the bigger topics of like, how are they feeling, their purpose, their structures, routines, all the things I've mentioned that are really much more important. Their motivation, are they still into it? Are they doing the right kind of revision? Are they feeling satisfied every day? Are they sustaining themselves well? Are they taking good breaks? Are they still having fun? They're not getting incarcerated in their bedroom. They're managing their phone usage, all this kind of thing, all the lifestyle stuff that really is huge players in whether they're going to thrive in this year 11. So yeah, we're working on just their enjoyment of the subject. The more they do it in a genuine way, the more they will love it and enjoy it. Maths in this case, but any subject. And so we're really trying to create an upward spiral. Like sometimes I speak in, well, often I speak in those terms, upward spirals, downward spirals. And I see it just all the time. I've seen it so often in my work, listening to parents, listening to teens. Yeah, how quickly it can all just start to go down. One thing becomes another thing, becomes another thing. So, maybe a bad test result, and then like a teacher relationship starts to founder, the teacher's criticizing, the students then backing off, then they don't like maths or they don't like that subject. Then they start studying less, then their parents kind of on their case, then they get detentions. Like it can really quickly start to go like that. Then the whole of school, they're just like demotivated by school in general. So, just as quickly as it can start to go down the pan, and very often I hear people say, wow, it all just seems to be happening at once. That's not a coincidence usually. We can also turn it around, so start to really put in some positive relating with their teacher, for example, just unpacking that resistance to that person if there is a lot, starting to just put a bit more time in, yeah, actually give a bit more to that subject, get into it more, start to do better in it, aim to do better. And it's pretty simple stuff, really, but it makes a huge difference. And when it's really couched in coaching and a sense of like, this is what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they can see, oh, wow, that is, things are starting to feel better. Everyone's happier, everyone around them's happier, and they're also much happier. They're beginning to feel their own confidence coming in. Yeah, so then the upward spiral, suddenly like school is way more fun in general, just from a few of these moves in one subject or in one relationship, whatever it might be. So Maths Hub is super exciting. I'm loving also just the vibe and the group of students that I've got for that regular Monday call. They're so awesome with each other, so supportive with each other. Another huge part of the inspiration for setting up the Young Fire Academy was to create a very positive working culture. So like a culture of really real mutual support and encouragement, openness, like not a culture of confidence where people can speak up and say what they think, ask the questions that they might not feel able to ask in the class, just to be open and honest and real. One of the core values, this also pervades everything that I do. I've got 7 core values. One of them is honesty. So, we really I need the students to be honest with me about, yeah, whether they really are doing the work, what really is going on for them, or anything else that's upsetting them, if they're staying up late or if they're just finding it difficult to get off Instagram Reels. I just praise them to the skies for just being honest, going, yeah, I didn't do it, Henry. I just overslept, or sorry, I didn't show up. Yeah, I went out to see a friend. It was a stupid decision or something, whatever it might be, just honesty. Wow, I couldn't do anything like what I do with my students if they were bullshitting me, basically, the way they might do with their teachers and with you as parents. So we've got to really be on a level. We're working together. So I love honesty in any form. I don't care what they've not done or what they've done, against what we might have agreed or decided to do. That's all part of the process of taking responsibility, finding their own way, and stepping up in that self-leadership. So yeah, that's the Maths Hub inspires basically everything about the Young Fire Academy. So already I've said probably a lot. But yeah, the essay writing course is also amazing. First time I've ever done it actually in a group. I've been teaching essay writing forever, like 20 years of interest in why that. Yeah, I mean, for one thing, that's still really interesting to me, to be writing essays for some reason. It's still, well, for lots of reasons, I still really love it because it brings up so much. It brings up so much good stuff, so many good principles in me, which I like to share with the parents and the teens that I work with. So some of them are like, again, I've said the word bullshit already, so sometimes I don't mind it, the occasional swear word if it's engaging, and often with teens that can be quite engaging to demonstrate that I'm not a school teacher, for example. My hands aren't tied in all kinds of ways. And so it's a bit of a crass way of proving that, but it's one way of just communicating my own freedom, which they really like. They like to see that. So yeah, going to use the word again for essay writing because yeah, one of my core principles with essay writing is no bullshitting. Like really, the first thing I want to do is get students out of this habit of just blagging it, just filling the page with words, completely messy structure. Like, wow, no examiner, teacher, or human being wants to wade through that stuff. Like reading those essays is painful. Writing those essays is also painful. So, I'm really in it to kind of encourage students to really have some dignity in the process, some dignity in like why they're writing, how they're writing, not to just feel like, oh, I've got to do this thing and then just doing it so badly, or just trying to tick the box, trying to get the mark scheme to kind of reward them for something that really hasn't been thought through. So, my essay writing course is really about how to think, first of all, how to be gutsy enough to think of a number of different responses to the question, to take in the question deeply, really make sure we know what that's asking. Um, and yeah, then to stand by your points, stand by the points, make sure you got some evidence to back up that argument. And yeah, another core principle for the essay writing is enjoyment. And again, like a lot of students, this just hits them from out of nowhere. Like, what? I'm meant to. This guy's like encouraging me to enjoy like writing essays. Like to me, a student has to find that level, has to find a way to enjoy writing. Otherwise, it's never going to be of any value really to them, like deep value. I mean, not just grades and that kind of thing. It's not going to be a valuable process or experience, and we're not going to be developing ourselves in that personal way beyond just the grades. If they're not enjoying it, so we've got to find a way to enjoy writing. Got to, and everyone can and will, through the right kind of coaching, find a way to just enjoy being brave. Like the no bullshitting thing really helps with the enjoyment, because they're no longer just trying to get through it and just it's meaningless to them. It's that they're actually communicating what they think for the first time, and they're being gutsy enough to think about that, structure it, and write it paragraph by paragraph with evidence. And then we start to build up all the stuff that is in the mark scheme as well. We can bring that in easily in that much more meaningful context. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm excited about the essay writing courses. And yeah, the group's amazing because they really learn from each other. They can see each other's writing. This is the same approach I know they use in Oxford University, where they have two students and a teacher. And right from the beginning of being at Oxford, my friend who went to Oxford, I didn't go to Oxford, but my friend who went there told me that this is what they do, right from the beginning. They write essays and they read them to each other in those groups, little groups, two of them, and then they hear their peer, their fellow students' criticism, what they liked, what they didn't like. They hear their teachers' criticism, what they liked, what they didn't like. There's no hiding place. So like pretty soon those students are writing amazing essays because they're really communicating with actual people, not just sending it in, getting a bad mark, sending it in, getting a bad mark, sending it, and never really having to, like when you've got to read it, wow, then you start to very quickly learn what's meaningless, what's just overly complicated, what's of value to the person who's listening or reading, and what's not. So that gets you writing good essays very quick. So the groups are powerful for that reason. And yeah, the parent community, I'm super proud of the fact that we have parent community. I think it's really insane that we parent alone. So many of us just don't have any support for parenting. We read books and they're of whatever value they are, but really the responsiveness of just being together each week in a group of parents, being in a held space, I'm good at that, holding a good space for parents and for teens, where we can listen to each other. No one's, dominating the call or anything, and it's a safe space just to share what's coming up for us, what challenges we're having week to week, to ask whatever questions, to again learn from each other. So, that my wish to support students with their motivation has extended into this realm of, okay, how can I help the parents also help us all get a good result there? I felt very limited by that in my tutoring days. So I'm reaching into homes now, speaking with the parents now about how they can harmonize their relationship more with their teens, and also with the teens, how they can harmonize their relationship more with their parents, because that is going to help them with their motivation. If there's too much pressurizing, too much helicoptering, too much nagging, micromanaging, wow, that's not going to help. So at this age and stage, the parents need to learn. We parents, I'm also a parent of a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, so I'm learning all the time as well. We need to learn patience. We need to really step into trust, a much higher level of trust than a lot of parents are used to in the younger years. So that we can then um, start to kind of receive those good emails from the school, those signs from our teens that they are increasing in their own self-leadership through also that parenting atmosphere of stepping back so that we can allow our teens to step up. That's how I've phrased it for the last 5 years or so. And that remains a very clear, simple way of stating it. But that takes patience, takes guts as well. It takes guts for a lot of parents to remove the typical command and control way of parenting, which is also how we manage. That pervades all of society. That model of management, which is very out of date, it comes from like the wartime, basically. So stepping back and allowing that space takes time. It takes months. The program's 6 months for a reason. The parents have got to sit in that for 6 months and really enact the principles, trusting, respecting, being open, allowing or creating a culture of honesty between them and their teen. And yeah, fun and commitment, love, these are all the core values of the Young Fire Academy. And that's how I'm really encouraging parents to start to relate to their teens, to our teens, to get the best results. And like my background's academic, so that's how to get the best results as a tutor. So but I know it's the best results for everything. That's the best foundations for everything, is to create those kind of relationships at this age and stage. So yeah, that's all exciting. The parent stuff, the one-to-one coaching is incredibly exciting. Wow, I've loved like taking on some uni age students recently. So, I don't just coach teenagers. I narrowed down to kind of 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds for a long time. And I'm opening up now to kind of some of the older students, older brothers of some of the teens I've worked with, and just other parents who found me who happen to have someone who's 20 or 21, a boy or a girl, young man, young woman who are more of that age. And so then we get into all kinds of topics, again, responsive to them. But a big one is self-discipline for a lot of them. And again, structures and routines, good habits. And yeah, there's also with some of my one-to-one coaching, some of it's catering for very anxious students, so offsetting kind of hot housing that's going on at school, private school hot housing. So just, great. There's a lot of benefits to that kind of schooling as well. But, if it's making your teen just really, really anxious and yeah, if it's undermining their sense of self-worth and self-esteem, then really the coaching can really help just support them to know that all is well, even though they're not like the best of the best in this like very intense level of being at a private school where everyone gets 9s and 8s in GCSE. And yeah, with some of the one-to-one coaching, there's also other topics, as they come into puberty, sex, and intimate relationships. Some of the guys that I'm working with, I'm not doing this with any girls at the moment, which is probably as well, but it just hasn't come up actually. But that some of the young men I'm working with definitely share with me about attractiveness, and so in a way it brings up self-love, that self-acceptance in this Instagram age. Just to be feeling confident with who they are, to understand what really the true nature of attractiveness beyond just kind of physical appearance, for one thing. And I absolutely love to speak to that, to speak to respectful relating when it comes to sexual relating. And so, yeah, that's a big part of their self-development in their self-designed programs. So, all of my programs are very responsive to the individual. Like there's a lot in the program, which is standard. And some of that's just a kind of non-negotiable part of the program, which I know all teens or all parents are going to need. But then much of it is really just responsive to them. So one example of that for the parents right now is this 5-day phone challenge. So we're doing that at the end of April, and it's going to be, yeah, just another way that's steeped in the Young Fire Academy ethos and approach. So this is for parents, that phone challenge. There will be one for teens as well, like who want to kind of detox or come offline for a week. I would love to run programs like that. So I feel sure that's in our future. But this particular 5-day challenge is going to be, yeah, a lot of parents sharing their anecdotes and stories. I'll share anecdotes and stories also from my work over the last 10, 15 years. With just because the first 5 years I was just tutoring, I wasn't considering phone usage. There weren't phones actually. That's another reason. So I'll also share my research. So I've read just a ton of books. I mean, nothing but these kinds of books. I'm looking at my bookshelf, just parenting books, education books, motivation books. That was just my fascination for a long time. Still is my fascination. So Daniel Pink, Faber and Maslish, James Clear, Peter Gray, Alfie Kohn, just tons of different commentators that I'd like to bring into that 5-day challenge. And yeah, it's going to be, as always, a chance to listen to the parents as well, listen to create a forum for us to discuss what's working, what's not working, and to look at our experience there in a completely unregulated time. So that's one thing, is that I feel like it's going to be a lot easier in 5 years' time than it is for parents now, where it's just like the Wild West with phones and technology totally out of control, governments and big tech just have no idea. We have no idea what we're doing really. So we need to really help our teens at this particular time, because they haven't got the safety and the protection that I think they'll have going forward and that they need. And yeah, speaking of schools, I've got a couple of gigs coming up in secondary schools, which is really exciting. I'm just going to step out there in front of a bunch of GCSE students. And I've been a million miles away from schools, really. I set up as a not an antidote to schools, but a complement to schools, but a way of offsetting some of the problems. My own kids go to Montessori school for a good reason. I think there's a lot of problems with our education system. So my work has been out of school for a good reason, out of school and out of homes. So I work online for a very good reason. It's a completely independent space for working with young people, and that's the best space I've ever found for creating a completely new culture, a new way of them relating to themselves and relating to me. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to collaborate with these pretty progressive schools who've been drawn to me. So I'm really grateful to them for that opportunity. And so I'm going to be giving some talks on, I actually don't really know, but it could be how to write essays that don't completely suck. That was one title. The Art of Maths is another one. I'm obsessed with processing in maths, not so, the maths itself, of course, but really how students are optimizing their processing is the journey that I'm usually on with them. Just the kind of solution for just silly mistakes and sloppiness and lack of care. And just I'm excited by just how much students can really fine tune that focus and that level of performance in a maths paper. But of course, that's true for all papers. So I use maths, but it's true for every single. It's exam technique. It's like yeah, very high level kind of exam technique program. So that the art of maths might be one talk. Finding true freedom in and out of school, that's another talk I'd like to give. Why get out of bed? That's another talk I'd like to speak to. These are like kind of TED Talk style, 18-minute, 20-minute talks that I know are there, and I'll write them when someone asks me to give them. So they're all around purpose, self-discipline, ownership, agency, benefit, what's of most benefit, cumulative interest of showing up, and work ethic, all these things, routine habits. Yes, and finally, yeah, I'm excited just to be reaching into tutoring agencies that might want to collaborate with the Young Fire Academy to run some summer camps. So yeah, for forever, for as long as I've known young people, I've wanted to do this. I've run a few festivals in my time, so I've actually yeah, what's the right word? I mean, I've hosted, and as a musician in my past, that you can see the guitar on the wall. Still sometimes comes off the wall, mostly not music these days. But yeah, I hosted loads of festivals, and so I really like those kind of spaces anyway, camping, retreats, and I can't wait to do in-person teen summer camps and also maybe parent camps, maybe together, maybe separately, certainly separate kind of fields or something. I mean, I never mix parents and teens in my online work, so that would be a real first to start having the parents and teens in the same space. I'm not sure I'm into that, but we'll see, maybe. Um, yeah, and with for all of this, but yeah, for this video, basically, it's to showcase what we do. If it's a match for you, if it feels like, wow, I'd love to know more, you can book a link. Sorry, you can book a call using one of the links below. So below this video, we'll make sure the links are available. You can book in for a 15-minute call with me if you're interested in me meeting your teen or just chatting with you about the possibility of me meeting your teen. So I'm always doing those 15-minute calls with parents. That's forever available. They're free calls. They're just a way for us to just chat with each other, get to know each other, before we get into like, okay, maybe could this actually work? Let's meet with the teen and figure that out. And then we come back to see, okay, what kind of program could you all fit into? And also that if you wanted to know more about the phone challenge, then there'll be a link below for that as well. So thanks for watching all this way, if you have watched all this way. And yeah, I hope you're as excited about what we're doing as we are. It's forever changing. I'm looking forward to doing another one of these videos in about 6 months' time, where there will be a whole bunch of other things I'm sure we'll be up to. So yeah, very exciting times. And I would love to hear from you if you'd like to engage in any way, either with a call or with a message. Yeah, let me know how this video has been for you.